Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Checking in on the MJ space, we'll start it off with news here of XLY receiving a $123 million investment from Big Tobacco. So that's a big bonus for this penny stock. And that led to a little bit of bullish action first thing out of the gates this morning. But when you're in a fear market and when you're in downtrends, little bounces get sold into. And by the end of the day, everybody, well, I shouldn't say everybody, but most names that bounced ended up extremely weak. And sort of here we go again for the bears keeping complete control. As far as XLY, certainly haven't been covering it much, but if we're looking at it from a weekly time frame, base of support at 70 cents, key bull break, close at the high of the day, 94, $1, and 105 are the most important resistances. But keep in mind from where we came, anybody that's bought this stock in essentially the last 18 months was underwater before this news. So just keep in mind, there's a lot of people that will probably be looking to sell at some point in the near-term future. And if the bulls can get over 105, it will be meaningful to me on a longer-term time frame, but a long way to go. As from the high to the low, we gave back 80%. So let's get back to the normal name, CGC. Big rejection. We have our low, high of the bounce, higher low. Bulls are going for a trend change. No, they're not. Bears crush the price back down, close at the low of the day. Again, it's just how many times can the bulls get kicked in the stomach? And here we are looking back down. If 34.41 breaks, we are remaining in the daily downtrend, and we'll look down at the low that we've seen of this pullback. At this point, unless we break 36.74, bulls prove nothing. Exponential resistance continues to reject the price. Same old story, essentially, is what it boils down to. Cron pulling back significantly, closing at the low of the day. Only thing the bulls have going for them is the fact that it wasn't on high volume. Bulls are trying to hold 1447. That's the must-hold support level. If that were to break, it's certainly a big red flag for Cron as well. Have to break 1585, which the bulls were unable to do, at least initially. ACB. Bounce attempt this morning, closed down at the lows. We're looking at the lowest price of 644 that we've seen anytime recently. After 644 is 611. Bears keep complete control. All we did today was establish a new resistance at 670. APHA, same thing, just established a new resistance at 623. Significant drop down to lower lows. Daily RSI getting oversold. Where is our next support level from here? We're looking down at 624. That broke a while ago. We're looking down at 545. So 545 is the next support level. We have a lack of any support nearby. Things can get extreme when there's a lack of previous price history. RSI levels getting beat up as well. S&P 500 coming off the all-time high from yesterday. So again, market extremely strong. MJ sector getting crushed. TLRY, daily lower high, has been set here at 43.51. And I don't even really consider that a clear lower high. This is still the most important resistance, 45.48 for me. So we're just heading back down to test our low of consolidation, 41.35. Bulls have to hold 41.35 and break 45.48 in order to see any kind of shift. Otherwise, we zoom out to the weekly and we say we still have not formed our weekly high or low. Bears still have control on the pullback. CTST, second gap down open in a row, still weak. Hourly time frame bounced to give us a new resistance. We are in an equilibrium here. Let's look at it on the 15-minute. So low of the day, high of the bounce, higher low, lower high. 190 and $2 are the most important ranges into tomorrow. If we break 190, we're going to test the low. If we break $2, we look to 213. So a nice tight range to be watching. But again, anyone holding overnight is subject to overnight risk, because when's the last time we've seen a higher open that was worthwhile and worth the risk on CTST? There's still the overhang of maybe we're going to get the license taken away. Who knows? Obviously, the bears have control here still as well. If we do not see the license taken away, there will likely be an oversold bounce. But again, very high risk, high reward. I should say very high risk, low reward at this point for bulls in this name right now. OGI attempted its bounce. Did we change the hourly trend? Nope, just a little bull move. Not really any kind of follow through, and just a slow fade. So the daily higher low still looking for a hold of 540. If we were to drop down towards 540 in hourly oversold conditions, I would be interested in a bottom fishing play. Otherwise, hands off for me as far as OGI is concerned. HEXO, so the play, I didn't trade today. Today's my day off, and I was busy all morning putting together a farm cart to tow behind your ride-on mower. That was frustrating. But HEXO got what we were looking for as far as what I outlined yesterday. A flush first thing and then look for the oversold bounce. We did end up seeing a really nice bounce, but again, short-lived. The bulls had control all of, 40 minutes here? And then just a complete slow fade. And let's see how significant a bounce. We ended up bouncing, 6% or so? My button's not working. 6% bounce, but faded back down. The daily RSI is still absolutely crushed, and you got to start questioning. We've seen in the past where APHA was giving us red flags before the short report. We saw how often was TRST the weakest of the tier 2 Canadian names that we cover before this bad news comes out. People are now saying, what's going to be the bad news for HEXO? What kind of hammer is going to drop here? And that's just the market cycle of being in the fear part of the cycle at work. And we're looking at force psychological. Again, I am interested in this oversold bounce. I haven't attempted it yet. The hourly RSI is back to oversold. If I can see this hourly RSI into the mid-20s while the 4-hour and the daily RSI are looking into the low 20s, I still will be interested. But that short-term bounce this morning makes me more picky because it cools things off enough that was a recent enough bounce that we're not extended in the straight drop anymore. So I'm keeping an eye on it. I may play an oversold bounce tomorrow or Monday. It all depends. But, again, being extra picky. VFF, looked like we were going to try and confirm this daily bull flag, but we were rejected, so we have a tightening range right now. I like the 4-hour time frame where we have our high, low of the pullback, lower high, and the bulls just have to hold 1030 here to stay in this tightening range. And we have a new support level at 1079 and 1080 as a double bottom. So we can be looking at the range of 1149 to 1079 as the most important range, short term. And then if we break resistance, we look at 1167. If we break support, we look at 1030. But overall, a great response for the bulls, just unable to get followed through at this point in time. And it certainly wasn't the right market, shouldn't say the right sector day to try and get that bull flag breakout. So bulls still have a chance heading into next week to try and see this key break of resistance and to shift that daily momentum. It's certainly been the most impressive Canadian MJ name on my screen over the last week and a half. T-God continues its free fall with high bear volume. Again, weak little bounce first thing, cooled off some short RSI levels, short-term RSI levels, and then dropped to lower lows. Daily RSI just getting oversold, and we're still looking down at the next level, 278, and then 277 for supports. VGW, again, that bounce didn't do anything. Just an hourly lower high, straight down to a lower low. So I am not a fan of VGW at this point. The only play for bulls here, if not in a position, is a bottom fishing play off of 337 to try and stay in this weekly tightening range. If we were to get towards 337 in 4-hour oversold conditions, then it's a potential bottom fishing play. NEPT, daily bull flag, is now a lot less likely. We're still certainly looking for a daily higher low to form, but that's a big convincing red day today. Hourly RSI was touched right at the end of the day, not convincingly. So if we see hourly RSI, again, hourly oversold conditions after a bull move on the daily time frame, we usually start scouting for the daily higher low to be set under those conditions. And anything on the hourly for NEPT under 622, just a lower high. ZYNE, tightening range continues on the 4-hour. Our lower high was set at 1160 because that's as far as the bulls made it. The bears have favor. Pretty much 1062, 1066, those supports are in play tomorrow. Bulls have to hold 1062 and break 1160 for a clear bull break of this tightening range. You could call it a descending triangle, which generally favors the bears. Not always, so I usually wait for the breaks of both descending and ascending triangles. But we should see a break on ZYNE, if not tomorrow, then on Monday. IIPR, As I said, if we don't make it up into the one teens, the mid one teens, the odds of a daily bear flag are there. And that's currently the case. Nice little follow through on the bounce. But if we see a bear break of 105.22 tomorrow, and actually we did break it at the low of the day today. So next support is 104.29, 104.62. If those levels break tomorrow, odds of a daily bear flag will increase. 109.73, new resistance. Curaleaf, hourly equilibrium is perfection. So this goes to show you early pattern recognition. How did we know to be looking for an hourly equilibrium 2 days ago? Big spike in volatility, solid bounce, making it back at least to the 50% retracement or beyond, giving lots of space in both directions. That's when we see equilibriums form. High, low, lower high, higher low, lower high, higher low. If we can't break 990 first thing tomorrow morning, we're going to look to reject, form another lower high, and pull back for a higher low compared to 935. If we don't break this hourly pattern tomorrow, we will certainly break it on Monday. MedMen with a gap up open, but a close at the low of the day. So trying to get some follow through. We never changed the hourly trend in any convincing manner. You could argue that that was a trend change down at 260 and 263. Not convincing for me personally. 4-hour trend change would certainly be convincing. But again, this is just a short-term bounce from bulls defending the all-time low. And the question is, now that it looks like we're setting another lower high, we were certainly anticipating a lower high compared to 308. And can we hold 260 and break 294 to change the daily trend and try and see a weekly equilibrium form? TRUL looks like it's being priced in for the release of shares. Remember, we were going to release a ton of shares. They put it out and said, we're only releasing however many millions, which was what, a 9% or so increase in the float. So that looks like it's being priced in, especially on a day like today when the sector, everybody's closing at the low of the day and TRUL is closing at the high of the day. Anything under 1462 is just a lower high, but the bulls are giving themselves a chance. Again, inverse head and shoulders is the only chance for these bulls, where if we reject from 1462, have to form a higher low and then break those resistances to try and change the daily trend. At this point, we are just looking for a daily lower high to form. And last IAN, that unusual action at the end of the day yesterday, meant nothing because we saw absolutely no follow through and all we saw was just slow and steady consolidation all day today. So it left us with a daily inside bar. It is the second weakest close that we've seen on this entire pullback. And for the bulls to prove anything, we have a double top at 363. And really, it's 395 for me. If you don't break 395 on IAN, I don't care what the bulls are doing. Breaking 363 would have us look to 395. But we're looking back down at the recent low of 318. So again, short-term bounces. We're in a scenario right now where those who know that momentum shift is inevitable, they are every little bounce. It's almost like, is this it? Is this the one? Is this the bottom? Is this the shift in momentum? And we have to always be skeptical. Again, as I keep saying, burden of proof is on the bulls. Be skeptical. Make the bulls prove it to us. Hourly trend changes are great, but if we don't change the daily trends, it just doesn't mean anything in the big picture. We're just looking for a new daily lower high to be set if we don't change the daily trends. So that's where we stand as we head into tomorrow. Again, these are all good things. The fact that a penny stock here in the MJ space gets $100 million from a bigger company, that's a good thing, but not in a fear cycle. It should say we're not going to see much reaction from the market, the sector, in a fear cycle that we are currently still in. So we'll see if HEXO gets crushed. We'll see if there's any news underlying. Because of the risk of bad news, I personally would only just be looking for short-term flips on any oversold bounces if I do make any kind of entries. But again, because that bounce took place today without me, I am going to be a lot more picky. And I'd probably have to see a solid 4 to 5% red day if I were going to start scaling in tomorrow. So I doubt I will. We'll check back in over the weekend. Hope you have a good rest of your day. No end of the day video here, so we'll go back to Airlie Gardens from Wilmington, North Carolina from a couple months ago with some flowers and some happy noises.